All right, guys and gals at C.A.M.P, we got a big surprise with our good buddy George Antone joining us, as he likes to label himself, the chief financial nerd. This guy is one of the smartest, if not the smartest financial guy that I know. This guy absolutely loves breaking things down and really helping his students really accomplish some big things in the finance game. The author of the Banker's Code and the Banker's Code Revisited is our good friend, Mr. George Antone, joining us all the way from Sacramento, California. Is that right?
San Jose, dude.
San Jose, sorry. Let's get it right. There's a saying in there somewhere. But anyway, glad to have you, bud. How's it going?
Good. I'm so excited about being on the call. And I have to tell you, Scott, you are helping me accomplish a big goal today without knowing it. You want to know
what's that?
Well, I'm going to be on a virtual stage with the same person as Sharon Lecter. To me, I'm so excited about having to listen to her. I've never heard her speak, but obviously she's impacted my life without realizing. So I can't wait to be on the call after this.
Yeah, not a problem. And I was going to simply say something else. You look like you've leaned up, buddy. You're working out a little bit more.
It's called a girdle. I'm wearing
a girdle. Hey. Whatever works, looking good there, buddy. What are you going to share with our campers today? Should I jump off? You got a PowerPoint you're going to pull up there in a second, right?
Yep. Let me just do that right now.
Okay.
Oops. Can you see the screen well?
There we go. We're perfect there. There you go.
Perfect. So I'll just go ahead and start here. So I'm going to talk today about this interesting topic. I've been working on something called hacking finance, and that's actually the shirt. And here's the topic for today: how to build your wealth in 6 hours or less per month using a completely new paradigm, and that's the hacking finance we talked about, and without the stress of risky investments. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and dive in here, and I have so many slides and so much content. So I'm going to go through this relatively fast because we have 60 minutes here, or a little bit more than 60 minutes. So with that, let me start with a very bold promise. By the end of this training, you will know one specific way to increase your net worth by at least $100,000 or more. For any investors listening to this, it's significantly more. And we'll be talking about some math here and some numbers. So don't be worried, but it is freaking amazing. That's all I can say. So with that, I'm going to talk about a completely new way to building wealth. Okay, so I'm going to be comparing some traditional ways of building wealth with this new way, what we call hacking finance. So let me start with a story. Before I get into the meat of it here, I think it's important that we share a story that we all have in common. And so let me start with that. So here's a story of all of us. We all start with this huge dream of what life could look like as young kids. And then we go to school, and then we graduate, and then we start freaking out. Once we're done with school, we start working, and then we realize, wait a minute, this is very different than anything we've thought about. And when we start realizing that we've worked for a number of years and we have very little to nothing to show for it, we start freaking out when we realize our kids' college will cost us $250,000 per child. I have 3 kids right now, and one is just finishing, and it is indeed $250,000 for a private university. We start freaking out when we realize that retirement is coming up in a decade or two, and most people don't have enough saved up. We start freaking out when we realize that most people out there are one disaster away from being wiped out. And that to me blows my mind. If you're in constant fear, financial stress, just from the fear of being wiped out or the fear of having one bad thing just wipe you out is unacceptable. And then when you try to do something about it, you look at this huge, massive maze of different ideas and different ways of financial security, whatever that means to you. And then you're lost because some of these completely contradict each other. So what if there's a way to find a shortcut to reach financial security without getting lost in the maze? And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to show you a way that is completely new paradigm to getting around the maze and much faster and to your financial goals. So with that, I want to talk about the story of how this whole thing came about. And it really boils down to one single question someone asked me many, many years ago. So here's what happened. I was invited to speak at an event. Actually, it was in Palm Springs. And after I was done, about 90 minutes to our presentation, I walked out. I walked down the stage, off the stage, and then this one lady walked up to me and asked me this really, really crazy question. And I thought she was kidding at first. So here's what she said. She said, "Is there a way to build financial security without investing in stocks, bonds, or real estate, or even sell anything or start a business?" So I chuckled and, thinking she was kidding with me. But when I looked at her face, her expression on her face was just told a story. She had so much fear, so much embarrassment, so much desperation. I realized, you know what, I need to do something about this, because this lady was very serious. And I started this quest on, let me look into different ways of building financial security for just people that just don't want to invest, or for people that are afraid, or even investors that want to do more with their investments. So that's what I found out. I found out this really new method called hacking finance that is very different than anything out there. And I'll be talking about this on this presentation. So that's the objective of this training right now. It's really to open your eyes to this new paradigm, what we call financial shortcuts, that can help build financial security in your life for generations to come without depending on investing, trading, or making any risky investments. And so that's the objective of this masterclass here. So let's dive in a little bit of my background. Who am I? Why should you listen to me? So many, I see a lot of people here on the call. Many of you look familiar, but I'll just go over this really quickly. I started in technology as a software developer, and I worked at a number of companies, including Intuit, makers of Quicken Financial Planner, QuickBooks, a number of other software. And I also worked for Microsoft and a number of other software companies, including Electronic Arts and some other ones. Then in 2001, I walked away from that whole world as a software developer. I was sick and tired of that world. And I got into real estate. And really one of the reasons is because of Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'm mentioning that specifically because Sharon's going to be speaking after me here. And I think it's going to be an honor just to listen to her. But what happened is, I got into real estate and I started buying apartment buildings, single family homes, commercial real estate, as well as private money lending, running a fund and all that stuff. I've raised millions and millions of dollars for things outside of just real estate. So I've done a lot of real estate, obviously, but also businesses and other projects. And I'm also considered a thought leader. This is going really fast over here for some reason. I'm trying to figure out why. I'm considered a thought leader in the investing and the finance space. So the question is, why should you listen to me? I could tell you I'm the best-selling author of 3 books, but you know what? Who cares? This is way too fast. I'm going nuts.
I care.
I could tell you I've been a radio host on the Wall Street Radio Network, but you know what? Who cares? Okay, hold on a second. This is driving me up the wall here. Let me just fix it because it has timing in it somehow. And let me see here. How do you do this?
You're faster than a speeding bullet there, aren't you, George Antone?
It is actually predetermined timing. I don't know why this was set up like this, but hopefully this fixed it. So I could tell you I've been a radio host on the Wall Street Radio Network, but you know what? Who cares? I could tell you I've worked on the world's #1 personal finance software used around the world, but you know what? Honestly, who cares? This doesn't impact anyone here. I could tell you I've been the founder of the largest network of private money lenders in the world. But again, who really cares? Here's why you should care about this and why you should listen to this training. Because this information can have a significant impact on you financially and your family for generations to come, okay? So with that, let's dive into the content here and let's talk about the agenda for this training. I just spoke the fastest I've ever spoken in my life here just because of the timing. So I'm going to slow down here a little bit. So here's the agenda for the whole training. I'm going to go through this again in the next 50 minutes or so. So let's dive into the first one, which is a new paradigm for building wealth. So what I want to talk about now is you can think about all these strategies out there for building wealth, and but you can place them or categorize them into three buckets: trading, investing, and saving. And these are the three traditional ways of building wealth, if you will. So let's talk about each one of them briefly. And again, I'm not going to say anything negative here. I'm just pointing out the characteristics. I'm a big advocate of all of them, but I just want to point out some of the characteristics of each one of them. Let's start with trading. Now, anyone that, when we talk about trading, we're talking about trading things like currencies or trading stocks or anything. When you use the word trading, it means it's a zero-sum game, but actually it's even worse than that. It's actually negative sum game, because there's always a banker or a broker in the middle making fees. So a trading strategy just simply means a negative sum game, which simply means someone has to lose for someone to win. So you're transferring wealth back and forth. And therefore, think of poker. You're sitting there at the table, you're playing with some of the best people on the planet, including a lot of computers that are automated to trade. So really, trading is a long-term, it's going to take you many years to really master, and you really have to master it before you really get into the game, because you could lose money. In fact, there's a higher chance of you losing money than making money as a trading. Again, I don't have anything against it. All I'm saying is it's going to take years to master. Let's talk about investing. Many people know I'm a big advocate of investing. I think highly of investing, but we also know it does take years, a number of years, to really master and get very comfortable with the specific asset that you're focusing on, whether it's notes, whether it's real estate, whether it's private lending, whatever it might be. You can learn. You have to keep learning, and you have to dedicate time to really master that. The next one is saving here. And when I talk about saving, I'm talking about being extremely frugal. We all know about people that have saved, half their income or even more than half, and they're living extremely frugally, and that's what they use to build wealth. And that's fine. Again, I have nothing against it. Just to me, it's not a rewarding lifestyle that I'm looking for. So these are the three traditional buckets. It turns out, as I did my research after that lady asked me that question, that there's truly a new way, a different paradigm, and what we call hacking wealth and hacking wealth building and investing, which is really about using finance in very creative ways to improve your financial well-being. And that's the whole presentation here. Now, I do want to say that this actually can be combined with any of the traditional methods, and in fact will enhance any of the results. If you combine it with trading, investing, or saving, it will enhance your yield significantly so. So with that, let's talk about what is exactly hacking finance. Hacking finance is really about having these small financial tweaks, things you can tweak in the system, in the financial system, and make it work for you, because the system is wired to work against all of us right now. And by tweaking things and understanding the finance part, you can really turn things around and make it work for you. And I'll be demonstrating this here in this presentation. And we call these tweaks, or these financial strategies, shortcuts or financial shortcuts. So you're going to hear me talk about financial shortcuts a lot here. And all it means is that we find a loophole in the system, we find a solution for it, and then we use it as a shortcut to leap forward financially without having to invest or trade or anything like that. And so there is no need to call buyer, seller, or sell anything. And it takes no more than 6 hours total. And that 6 hours can be broken up into small segments, 30-minute increments. So you can stretch out the 6 hours into few weeks, few months, whatever you want, as long as whatever time frame you want to do that. I recommend that people do them one strategy per month, but we have a lot of our students doing 2-3 of them per month. So all it is 6 hours per month in as little as 30-minute increments. So that high level, let's dive into what are some examples of these shortcuts in the financial system. What the hell are you talking about, George? So let me give you some examples. And what I'm going to do after this is I'm going to deep dive into one of them. I'm going to pick one of those I'm going to pick right now. I'm going to talk about right now and really break it up into very small pieces and show you how it works. And again, that's just one out of many, many, many out there. So let's just look at a few right now that are really fascinating. So again, we know that the financial system is wired to work against us. We all know that. Inflation working against us, taxes, interest, everything is working against us. And the result of that is that we have to work harder and harder and longer hours just to barely keep up. However, the system, like I said, has these shortcuts that anyone can use legally to significantly impact their financial well-being. Okay, so let's look at a few examples right now, and we'll again pick one of them, and we're going to deep dive into those. So let's start with high level, just a few of them. Here's one of them. Banks make money off of your deposits while sitting in your checking account doing nothing but waiting to pay bills. Now, what does that mean? So when you get paid, let's just say on the first of the month, you get paid on the first of the month, and then a few days later or a few weeks later, you pay all your bills. So imagine out of every month, let's just say 4 weeks, you get paid on the first, and you pay your bills, let's just say second or third week, okay? Then you do the same thing the following month. Every 4 weeks or so, or every month, your money's sitting there for half the month doing nothing, or 3 weeks out of the month, or whatever it is. Now, if you extrapolate that over 40 years, that means your money is sitting there for 20 out of the, or 30 years out of the 40 years, doing nothing but waiting to pay bills. Now, who do you think, who on earth is making money off of that, what we call float? Who's making money off of that money? Obviously, it's the banks. Money's sitting there, and they're going to make a lot of money off of that money while it's sitting there. Now, what if you can take that and use it to your advantage without putting it at risk? Because obviously you have to pay your bills, and it has to remain liquid. But what if you can make it work for you while it's sitting there? And the answer is truly you can. And in fact, it can increase your net worth by 6 figures by simply knowing how to use that float. And that's the one shortcut I'm going to be deep diving into a little bit later, and showing you for an investor how they can make well into the 6 figures, and for some people 7 figures, just from one single shortcut. And I'll be going into the math with that. So let's talk about another one. Here's another shortcut. Do you realize that even when you work hard, no matter how hard you work, inflation is always pulling you back? But with a simple tweak, inflation will work for you and increase your net worth automatically. Again, this is something you can go down to your bank and do a few tweaks, and suddenly you turn the whole system to work for you. Now, that's what hacking finance is. Hacking finance is almost like the martial arts, where in some martial arts you use the size and the strength of your opponent against them. And so as a finance hack, we look at how the system works, and we use the whole financial system's strength and size against itself. And that's one of the things we do here with inflation, is we turn it with a few simple tweaks and make it work for us. Here's another one. Do you realize that banks use a very powerful principle to increase their yields significantly? And you can easily replicate that same principle with your local bank to benefit you. Again, we're just using what banks are using right now, and these are really interesting shortcuts that we can all use. Here's another one. Again, there are so many of them. I'm just going through them fast here, just to give you an example of what they are. You can generate double-digit returns in your local bank account without investing, by simply using this proven 200-year loophole. Now, this here is a way to generate double-digit returns, and you pick the risk. Let me say that again. It's not risky, it's low risk, but you get to pick the risk you want, and it's still double-digit returns. And this can be done just like, anyone can do this. It's just at your local bank again. Here's another one. There's a very interesting strategy out there that is incredible, and it is considered the most important and powerful financial strategy for families today, and it's only known by a few people. In fact, this was highlighted on CBS News many years ago, and they talked about how some families, in fact, one specific family, they were talking about how they're doing incredible with this. And I have a lot of students now doing this. It is considered the most powerful, the most important strategy as a family, and nothing comes really close to this strategy for families. Here's another one. We all have heard of this, that Mitt Romney paid 14.1% effective tax rate in 2011 legally, and it's a lower effective tax rate than most Americans. And in one of the strategies he used, it is an incredible genius strategy. It is where most people can use the same genius strategy to generate tax-free passive income if they simply knew how to do it. It is so brilliant. And in fact, they discussed it on CNN. It was incredible. Here's another one. And you know me, Scott, I am super skeptical when people make claims about numbers. I'm the spreadsheet person. I go there with the intent of proving that doesn't work. But some of these do work, and it's phenomenal. Here's another one. Do you realize that some of these shortcuts were discovered 200 years ago by someone at Forbes magazine called the founding father of international finance? These are incredible. These are not things I just discovered myself. They're out there, and people discover them, but no one is talking about them as much because no one is making commission off of it. So I'll be expanding on that here in a minute. But anyone, here's the best part, anyone can use these shortcuts. Anyone can use these simple to implement shortcuts. Many of them are you having to go down to your bank account, to your bank, and implement, or online and implement them. So I just gave you high level some of these shortcuts. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to deep dive into one of those, and I'm going to show you how you can generate 6 figures from just one financial shortcut. And this is something that some people have heard about, but I want to really dive into it and show you how our students are doing incredible with this. So let's dive into one strategy and show you how people are doing 6 figures with this over time. This is not every year, but over time is 6 figures, typically 10 years or less. So let's start with a tale of 2 neighbors. You have regular Rob and smart Scott. Okay. I just made myself laugh there. The tale of 2 neighbors. So we have Rob on the left-hand side, and we have Sam on the right-hand side. And they're neighbors. And they have...
What happened to Scott, man? Come on.
So both of them live right next to each other. They're neighbors. They have the same exact job, the same exact income. They get paid on the same day. They're both homeowners, and they have the same number of kids, the same bank, and the same mortgage. And so what happened is they both got paid on the same day. And by the way, their mortgages are $300,000 each, and a 30-year, 300,000. So they both got paid on the same day. They walked together to the bank, and they both deposit their paychecks in their corresponding checking accounts. And that's it. Everything they do is exactly identical. The only thing is that Smart Sam did one single thing, okay? One single thing. He simply transferred, and I'm going to be talking about what's happening behind the scene here, why this works so well. All he did was he transferred his paycheck from his checking account to a line of credit, and that he set up at his local bank. And he used that to pay his bills, and that's all he did. That's all he did, and he did that for every month. He gets paid, he puts it in the line of credit, and he pays his bills. Now, after 10 years, Smart Sam's net worth is 6 figures higher than regular Rob, and all he did was one single tweak. I'm going to talk about the numbers here in a minute, but I want you to look at the big picture here. This sounds way too good to be true. Smart Sam used one simple tweak. That's it, folks. That's all it is. And he automated that, by the way. Okay. So automatic moves the money from his checking account to his line of credit. So consider this. Most people deposit their checks in a regular checking account in their local bank. And after a few weeks, like we talked about, they pay their bills. Let's just say 3 weeks in this example. This means for 3 weeks in our example, every month, the money is sitting doing nothing. Over a 40-year span, that means the money is doing nothing for 30 long years. So how does it work? Why does it work so well? So let's talk about the logic here. So I'm going to walk you through a few scenarios and just follow with me here, because this is extremely powerful, and you're going to start thinking differently about these things. Again, this is one of many, many building blocks that we have that we set up one time, and they're fully automated. Assume you get paid $5,000, and that's your monthly salary, okay? You get paid $5,000, and you have 2 buckets like you see on the screen. You have one that pays you 1%, and this is not a trick question, and one that pays you 6%. Which of those would you deposit the $5,000? Again, it's not a trick question. Obviously, the answer is 6%. So you're going to put your money in 6% as opposed to 1%. So let's look at scenario number 2 now. Same scenario, $5,000. You have 2 buckets with a twist this time. The first bucket, the 1%, is a checking account, and that pays you 1%, and I'm being very generous there. And obviously you have to pay taxes on the 1% because that's interest. And on the other side, the 6% is actually a line of credit, and it has $8,000 worth of debt on it, okay? And so if you were to deposit the $5,000 there on the line of credit, it lowers the debt from $8,000 down to $3,000. And while the money's sitting there before it pays bills, it's saving you 6% on that $5,000. Now, we all know that saving 6% is almost equivalent to making 6% tax-free, okay? So the question is, where would you place your $5,000? So the answer obviously is, why place it in the checking account, get 1% and pay tax on that when you can save 6% on the other side? And that's what really the answer is. Deposit the money in the line of credit, but you have to pay bills. So the question is the money still liquid? Do you have access to it to pay your bills? Because it's a line of credit, it's not a loan, it's a line of credit, you still have access to it, and you can pay bills and write checks and pay bills, okay? So in that case, the 6% is low, the $8,000 is lowered down to $3,000, and then when time comes, you just pay your bills, and it goes back up to whatever the balance is. So that's exactly what Smart Sam did, okay? Regular Rob was using a checking account, Smart Sam was using the line of credit. So let's continue here and look at scenario number 3 now, okay? So in scenario number 3, we still have the checking account, and we still have the line of credit. By the way, I normally go into a lot of detail here with these explanations with each building block, and this might take about half an hour just to explain it, but I'm going through it really quickly, and I give you all the spreadsheets and everything. So let's talk about this. As you start depositing money into your line of credit and paying your bills, your line of credit is going to go down to 0. What happens if the line of credit is paid off and there's no money there, no debt, I mean there? So putting your money into the line of credit when there's no debt, you're not really saving any money. So you might as well put it in the checking account. Except that there is a very elegant thing you can do there. Instead of just putting into the checking account, why not write a check? So with a line of credit, you're going to get checks. Write a check and pay down your mortgage in this example. So what happens now is you transfer, by writing a check, you're really transferring part of your mortgage into the line of credit. So if you were to write a check for $20,000, your $300,000 mortgage is lowered down to $280,000, and now your line of credit is $20,000 line of credit. So you haven't paid down anything overall. You still have $300,000 in debt. You have $280,000 in mortgage and $20,000 on a line of credit. Now you can start using again the line of credit and deposit your $5,000 in there and pay your bills every month. And so every time you pay it down, you want to transfer more debt from somewhere else into the line of credit so you can use that to make your money work more efficiently. So let's continue with that. So after 10 years, Smart Sam's is mortgage free, while Rob is $251,000 still on his mortgage. Think about that, folks. After 10 years, Smart Sam has no mortgage, but can he refinance and take out all that money tax-free and invest it and do the same thing again for 10 years? Absolutely. In fact, he can do that several times, 3 times altogether within 30 years, while regular Rob is still paying his mortgage. Okay, that's how powerful this is. So in 10 years, he's mortgage free. And Smart Sam doesn't have to worry about making any mortgage payments beyond that. So by utilizing the time the money is waiting to pay the bills, going back to the 30 years out of the 40 years, by utilizing that time, the float that the bank is making money off of you, we can use our money more efficiently, which in turn allows us to pay off our debts much, much faster and increase our net worth significantly without having to invest. And all this did was one simple shortcut in your local bank. This is one of many shortcuts again. All you have to do is just implement this one time and put it on autopilot. Now, what I'm showing you here is you'll see a cube with a lot of smaller cubes. Each of those cubes is what we call a building block or a financial shortcut. And each one of them has a name. And the reason is because we have so many of them, we have to distinguish them from each other. And so this one I just demonstrated here is called this, the master sweep account. The master sweep account. And again, it is part of more cubes that all work together extremely efficiently to really improve your financial well-being. I'm going to be touching on a few others and show you how they all work together. But I want to show you something that was posted on our private Facebook. And this is Andrea, and she started using this about 1.5 years ago. So I'm going to just read what she what she posted here. She said, and this was April 2nd. Notice the date right under her name. I removed her last name so no one knows, who she is. But that moment you realize you need to write another check from the MSA. MSA is the master sweep account to your mortgage. I keep thinking this is too good to be true. The MSA can't work this well. Well, it does work this well. I've been utilizing the technique for about 1.5 years, and every time I pay down the HELOC, this is the line of credit we talked about, I write another $5,000 to $10,000 check to my mortgage. I expect, now this is the best part, I expect to pay my $260,000 mortgage in roughly 6 more years. 6 more years. And did I mention, now keep in mind, she started this 1.5 years ago, okay? So that's in 7.5 years, she's gonna be mortgage free, and she can always refinance, take all that money out again, tax free, and do more investing with it, and then pay it back in 10 years. But let's continue here. And did I mention I haven't changed my budget one single penny? The grocery budget didn't change, the travel budget didn't change, I still have the same amount. Somehow this MSA churns away and works for me while I sleep. Good stuff. As always, thanks to George for teaching financial hacks to contribute financial freedom. This is part of our community, the online community, where we post and we help each other. And this was just posted just the other day. I haven't even asked her for permission to put this. I'll call her soon. But anyway, that's what's possible with this. So again, this is one building block, folks. There are so many of them, one shortcut. This one decision affected what Smart Sam's life looks like, and it was a simple tweak in the system. Again, we're looking at where are these loopholes in the system, how can we use them and create shortcuts from them. Smart Sam can use the same shortcut to pay his student loans, his car loans, any debt in 1/2 to 1/3 the time. Again, he's not changing his lifestyle. He's just using the timing, what we call the float, which what we know banks make a lot of money off of, to his advantage. The master sweep account, again, is one of many, many, many financial shortcuts in the financial system that any of us can use. Folks, these are right out there. We have to just reach out and just use them. They're out there and anyone can use them. They're legal. There's nothing crazy about them. They're fascinating. And in fact, it's harder to understand why they work than to actually use them. In fact, many of our students are just using it and like, this is incredible. This works. I'm not sure why it works, but I'm just following the steps. I do give you all the spreadsheets and all that stuff on how it works and why it works. When I'm a very skeptical person. I come from a very skeptical perspective on all of these things, and so I share with you why I like it and why it works. Let's move on here. I'm getting too excited about this. So the next item on the agenda here is the world's largest vault of shortcuts. So what did we do as a company? So as a company, we find these loopholes. They're everywhere. In fact, a lot of our members in the community are sharing with us a lot of those things. And so what we do, just give me a second here, we create a system around them. So we identify the loophole, we identify the system. A system is nothing more than here are the steps. And once you have the system, you wrap it into what's called a building block. And that's what we call also a financial shortcut. A building block is something that has all the steps and has all the spreadsheets and everything and all the training on how it works. And then we put it into this massive vault of building blocks. And we have so many of them. And that's what we do as a company. We're constantly researching. We're working closely with our members. In fact, a lot of our members come from all walks of life. Some of them are mathematicians. Some of them are engineers. Some of them are executives. Some of them are stay-at-home moms. We have people from all walks of life, but I love the mathematicians because they literally send me pieces of paper with all the proof, the formulas and everything. It's just crazy stuff. Anyway, I'm getting too excited here, Scott. So let's talk more about these building blocks. Again, these are the shortcuts we're talking about.
Do you need a cold shower? Do you need
I'm having like really strong coffee here.
The triple shot, huh?
Okay.
So
I'm worried
I
about
want to make a quick thing. You mentioned something earlier on about how nobody teaches this stuff or shares this stuff because they don't make any commissions on it at the bank. I can verify this. An ex-banker, JP Morgan Chase, Citibank, they don't teach this because there's no money being made on it.
Yeah.
It's actually, they're losing money when you consider how banks make money on this stuff. So
Yeah.
I want you guys to pay very good attention to this because this is exactly the truth. And a lot of people don't know about this, but this is like the little dark secret that they don't tell everybody about unless you've got a banker or a finance expert like Mr. Antone in your corner helping you out.
Yeah, thanks. So let's continue here. Thanks for that, Scott. So let's talk about these building blocks. These stand on their own, and each building block leverages an existing loophole in the financial system and has a very specific outcome. I'll be talking about the outcomes on the next slide here. These work very synergistically together. So when you start adding those building blocks together, the total sum of all of them is much higher than individually these work on their own. Each building block requires no more than 6 hours to learn and implement. Again, total of 6 hours. This could be broken up into smaller segments and could take you a whole month or a few weeks, depending on how much time you want to commit to this. Each building block requires a one-time implementation, and once you implement it, you put it on autopilot, and then you put it in your filing cabinet or in your drawer and just let it just ride and just let it work for you. Let's talk about the outcomes of these building blocks. So each building block, given the loophole it's using, you have different outcomes. So let's talk about some of these outcomes. Some of them individually will increase your net worth by $100,000 or more. This is, again, over time. The one I just shared with you here a minute ago, the Master Sweep account, is typically $100,000 in 10 years or less, okay? Some of them are beyond that. Some of them are much faster than that. Others pay down the debt super fast. Other building blocks generate tax-free income in the future. In fact, one of them I'll touch on a little bit later. It generates tax-free income 15 years from now. And you might be wondering why 15 years. It's because that's how the building block works. But I'll expand on why that's so fascinating for me and for a number of our students. Some of it is tax-free income in 5 years, for example. It depends on which building block. The next outcome is having better insurance and protection in your life while paying less money. Okay, to me, I think financial security and financial peace of mind comes from everyone knowing that their downside is covered. Okay, and that's why I mentioned that here. Some building blocks are, the outcomes are they make inflation work for you rather than against you. So again, all we're doing is we're looking at the size and the strength of this financial system and how it's wired and how can we turn the whole thing to work for us so that as inflation goes up, we actually improve our purchasing power and our net worth. The next one is keeping more of your earned income without changing your lifestyle, living frugally, or investing in high-risk investment. Again, each building block has different outcomes. Some of them have one, some of them have two, but there are many other outcomes, but these are some of the key ones right there. Here are some examples of building blocks. The Master Sweep account I just touched on. There's a financing system, there's the insurance arbitrage, and the number below there, 500,000 plus, this is how much it builds your net worth over time. The insurance arbitrage, we have a lot of our members doing this, and some of them will increase their net worth by 7 figures over time. And again, this is all things that you put up one time and you put in your filing cabinet and let it work for you. Inflation arbitrage, again, this is very powerful. How to use inflation to improve your net worth significantly. Again, there are many more. These are just a few of them right now. I'll touch on some of the other ones a little bit later. Now, who is this for? A lot of people ask me, is this for investors, non-investors? So let me share with you who is this for. This is for anyone that has an income right now. None of this stuff will generate income right now. So some people call us saying, I'm about to lose my job or I'm about to retire and I want income right now. And we say, this doesn't work for you. This is only for people that have income right now, whether you're working professionals or you have some other income as investors. This is more to build your net worth and build financial security and start having income in the future, not right now. This is for people who want to have financial security. And what I mean by that is really about peace of mind, about If you want to build $1 billion or you want to build a huge empire of commercial real estate all over the world, this is not for you. Okay. This is for people who don't necessarily want to call buyers, sellers, or sell anything. Now, I'm not against that. I always call people, but this is for people who don't want to have to do that. Okay. And this is for people who want to have more peace of mind and really enjoy life. And I think one of the things that I've come to realize, and this is thanks to talking to Scott on a regular basis, is really the importance of lifestyle and having time for friends and family and just enjoying life more. So I'm really getting more into that, and this is one of those things that's going to help you do that. Let me talk about what it's not. This is not an immediate income strategy like I talked about. This will not start generating income anytime in the next 12 months, okay? So don't do it for an income strategy. This is, again, financial security, increasing your net worth, building financial security, we talked about it, and also income in the future. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is not about quitting your job. This is not about the business that you have to run, such as real estate rentals or small business or network marketing, none of that stuff. This is not about selling products or network marketing. This is strictly using or hacking finance and making the whole thing work for you. And so it's really about being what we call a finance hacker. As a company, we're building the world's largest community of finance hackers. We have now well over 1,200 or 1,300 members online, and we haven't even started yet. And we are loving it every minute of it. And we're seeing some amazing, amazing results. What we do as a company is we find shortcuts and we work with our members to find these shortcuts. We research them and we make sure they work. We then document them and share them with our community members as building blocks. And then we all get to participate in the benefit of that. We've had people in our membership just send us spreadsheets on things that are fascinating, that fix different things in the financial system. Fascinating community. So as a company, our goal is to build the world's largest vault and community of vault of legal financial shortcuts and the largest community of finance hackers on the planet. So that's the world's largest vault of shortcuts. Let's talk about what others are saying about this training. Now, you saw earlier, Andrea, what she posted. We have a lot of people posting things, and honestly, I haven't updated this, what others are saying, but we have a lot of people saying amazing things on our finance on the Facebook page. Rita is a realtor, and here's what she said. As an extremely busy realtor in Southern California, I have gone through more courses than I can count, always trying to stay one step ahead of the game when it comes to investing and saving money for my family and clients. Then I was introduced to finance. Talk about brilliant. Wow, I'm now 100 plus steps ahead of the game. This is by far the easiest, most powerful and unique program I've ever seen, and it's all in one place. That's one of the things we want to do. It's all in one place, and we keep adding these building blocks, and you start seeing them pop into your library, and you have, again, the support of a whole community. The step-by-step, and by the way, everything we do is step-by-step, very actionable. So we teach you how it works. We show you the spreadsheets, but you don't have to know any of this stuff. You can just skip it and go straight to the step-by-step how to implement it. But coming from a very, from my background is really, I'm very skeptical perspective. I show you all the spreadsheets I use to make sure it works. The step-by-step actionable strategies that you can implement immediately or at your own pace are so easy anyone can understand and do them. I stress a lot about my family's financial future, and now I feel like a huge weight has just been lifted off my shoulders. I cannot thank you enough for this program. I will be telling everyone about finance. Here's what Brenda said. Again, we have so many of those things. This is the best practical financial knowledge, and I stress the word practical here, and I underlined it for you because really it's all practical. So we get you learning very hands-on things and actually having you go implement them. And one of the things we have is sometimes we use specific credit unions across the country. And so we have a lot of members saying, here, this credit union or this bank does this or this bank does that. So we have a lot of people contributing and helping each other. So best practical financial knowledge you'll find, maybe just maybe you don't need to make more money to live comfortably. Maybe just learning to make more money work very hard for you is your answer. Do you yearn for financial peace? You can learn it here. My husband and I agree that our lives have been forever changed with the knowledge we have received from finance. Thank you, George. Here's Ed. Ed was a teacher, and he quit being a teacher in his mid or early 30s. He's in Texas, and he reads a lot. This gentleman is incredible, and he lives an incredible life. And so here's what he said: I haven't found any other site with this content, and I read a lot. He's extremely skeptical, and he reads a lot of books. This site is easy to use. The value that finance offers is easily a 10 and exponential if implemented. Very, very interesting gentleman here. Here's another one on our Facebook. Again, we have so many of those. One of the things we thrive about is that you always look for every investment you ever make, whether you're hiring an expert or whatever it is. One of the lessons we talk about is you have to look at the cost versus the benefit. So if someone tells you hire a tax strategist who's gonna cost, let's just say it's gonna cost $3,000 or $5,000, most people think it's too expensive. But one of the things I teach our students is ask, what's the benefit within that year? What's the annual benefit? And so if that person is going to save you $10,000 and you can measure that, so obviously $5,000 is extremely cheap, okay? But if they're not going to help you in any of that and save you money in taxes, then you want to ask yourself, is that a good deal? So with Mike, he posted this in December. He said, I just got financed last week, literally 1 week. I love what I've seen so far. The best part is that one payment from the MSA, the Master Sweep account, to my mortgage and easily saved me more of the cost of the course. In the first month, he saved more money than whatever he invested in getting the course. And there's a lot more to do. And so that's one of the things we pride is just tell people, just try one of the building blocks, and you're going to save so much more and increase your net worth so much more than the investment. So that's what others are saying. Let me answer some common questions we get all the time. So I put them all in here. The first one is, why don't I know about this? Like I said earlier, and Scott mentioned also, no one is getting paid a commission, folks. No one, if I teach you a process of how to do something that's very efficient and increases your net worth, no one is getting paid a commission. Okay, so that's why no one talks about those things, and yet they still exist. And many people out there know of different interesting shortcuts, but they don't share them because there's no, they're not getting compensated for that. So that's what we're doing here. We're putting all of these things in one place. The next question that we always get is if some people say, I've never invested or I don't invest, can I still use this information? The answer is absolutely 100%. The next question is, people say, I'm an investor. Can I still use this? And the answer is 100%. This actually will improve your yields significantly. So if you're buying notes, for example, this will increase your yields significantly. If your yields are 10, 12, 15, 18%, whatever it is, this will increase your yield by at least double digits. So if it's 12%, we can take it up to 20%, 22% or more. It is that powerful. I cannot afford to do this. That's one that I love because someone told us that and he had never seen the price. So here's what I said to them. You're paying for it indirectly due to lack of knowledge. Folks, we are getting screwed by the banks. I don't know if we all know this. They're making so much money off of us. And so the question is, that money that you're losing to the bank, that's well into the six figures. So what I tell people is, as you're watching this, you're losing money to financial institutions and the government and others by not implementing this because money is leaving your pocket as you listen to this. You will pay for this either way. One way is the expensive way, which is what most people are doing, and the other way is the cheaper way. Start redirecting that money that's leaving your pocket right now towards the financial institutions and use that to your advantage. I'll give you one simple example. Whether you like it or not, inflation is going up. And it's going up a lot higher than what you think it is. The government tells us it's 3%. It's more like 5 and 6%. Given that, you're losing money or what's called purchasing power right now. If you simply do one simple tweak, you can turn that whole 6% to work for you and now improve your purchasing power significantly by simply understanding this one building block and how inflation works. These are very powerful things. So you're losing money as we speak right now. How much time will this require? This is a self-paced training, and we did it on purpose like this. You can go as fast as you want or as slow as you want. It's really up to you. You don't have to be there on any specific certain time. You pick the time, you log in, and you just follow the training and just implement the information. Our recommendation is to invest 6 hours per month. And again, the 6 hours is broken up into 30-minute segments. And you can stretch it out over a whole month or over 2 weeks or over 2 months or whatever you want it to be, or every week or so. But that's just a recommendation. Here's what Sonia said from one of our members. She said, the problem with these building blocks is this like eating chips, potato chips. Once you start, you can't stop because they're so exciting. And so you start eating the whole bag. And that's what's going to happen. Once you have one implemented and put in your filing cabinet and you're wondering, okay, I want to do the next one. And you're going to start doing so many of those things. The next question comes up is some people call us and say, I need an income right now or very, very soon. And we tell them, this is not going to help you. This is not going to help you. Don't waste your time. If you need income, find a job fast. This is not going to help you generate income. It generates income in the future and increases your net worth. It pays off your debt super fast, but this doesn't generate income immediately. The next question is, as a company, who are we? So what I tell people is we are financial researchers. We call ourselves think tank of finance nerds or finance hackers that search for, find, and prove these financial shortcuts that I'm talking about and share them with our members. That's strictly what we do. And we have a community of people that support each other. So what are the resources do you need for this? So here's all you need, 2 things. One is a computer or a smart device, a cell phone or a tablet or something like that has an internet connection. That's number 1. Number 2, you need 6 hours per month, again, broken up into 30-minute segments. You can have 30 minutes on weekdays or 30 minutes on weekends or whatever. Altogether, a total of 6 hours for the whole month. Not for the week, for the whole month, okay? And you'll be well on your way to building these things. What are the steps if I was to decide to do this? This is a very common question. So let me give you the 5 steps. As a member, you get access to these building blocks immediately. Okay, the minute you're a member, you have access to them immediately. Step 2, you start with what's called the Start Here building block. And you watch the Start Here training, which explains the sequence of the building blocks to go through in the big picture. We give you a 90-day process or roadmap to go from where you are to what we call financial happiness in 90 days. And we give you exact steps and you just follow the formula, okay? You then dedicate 6 hours per month, again, broken up into 30-minute increments to learn and implement a building block at a time. Go with one building block at a time. Don't try to do multiple ones, okay? Once you implement the building block, you then put it on autopilot, let it ride, and just move on to the next building block. And that's it, folks. That's all you have to do. Step 4, as you progress over time, you'll find your finances are moving you so much faster towards your financial goals, and you're well ahead of most people. In fact, one of the things that we've heard from a lot of our members is now they're this celebrity because they're doing it, that people are noticing the finances are improving, and people are asking them, what are you doing and how do you do this? And so we have a lot of our members becoming quote unquote celebrities in their families. Step number 5, we will keep contributing more and more building blocks for you to implement as we discover them. Okay, so these are your 5 steps. That's it, folks. Okay, so we talked about common questions. I'm going to talk about next steps right now. So let me make sure we're okay on time.
Doing good, man. You're fine.
Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure I'm not.
Yeah, about 20 minutes. You're good.
First, so let's talk about next steps. So at this point, I'm not sure why you showed up today, but I think we all agree that we all have the same challenges, financial challenges in our life. Some of us have, kids that we have to pay for, tuition. Some of us are coming close to retirement. Some of us have a lot of debt to pay off. Some of us are worried about, one bad thing happening in our life and wiping us out financially. We all have these common things that we just have to fix along the way. So really, this is what finance is really about. Finance Academy is about financial security for a better lifestyle. We focus so much on lifestyle, and you hear me talking so much about lifestyle because we don't build wealth for the sake of having more money. We really build it because we want to have peace of mind, and we really want to enjoy life. And so Finance Academy is about financial security for a better lifestyle. It's about hacking finance to live a more fulfilled life, going out there and just enjoying life. Do what Scott is doing. Scott is going to Europe very soon in June. I invited him to come to one of our trainings, but he won't be there. But hopefully you'll come to October 1.
I'll be there in spirit, my friend, and I'll be there. It's already on my calendar.
So no need to deal with budgets anymore. No need to give up your lattes. No need to invest in distressed real estate. Now, if you do any of those things, fine. This will increase your yields and your returns, but you don't have to do this. No need to invest in stocks and bonds. Again, if you do it perfectly, that's fine. You don't have to do it. No need to invest in anything that requires a huge time commitment. No need to sell products or services. Really, this is about being in control of your destiny, knowing that you've put in place these shortcuts to automatically work for you and start building financial security in your life so you have peace of mind and you can sleep better, knowing that your debt is being paid super fast. You know your net worth is increasing. You know you have retirement. You know you have income coming in, a few years from now. So all of that is being set in place. It's really about discover the shortcuts today that will help you leap forward financially. That's what it boils down to. These financial shortcuts are opportunities for any of us to use. And I keep stressing that these are out there. This is not something that we create. We simply discover them. So these are out there. It's not something we created. We just look for them, we find them, and we discover them and share them with our members. They're out there for any of us to use. They're all automated. Most of them, I would say all of them are automated. Once you put them in place, you let them work on autopilot and let it work for you so you can focus more on what's important to you in your life. So one of the things I'd like to do is invite you to become a Finance Academy community member, become what we call a finance hacker. And we're so excited about what this community is doing, and we're growing leaps and bounds. We started our first training ever with Scott, and I think this was almost 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, whatever it was.
Yeah, year and a half,
and we've ballooned. We have, well over, like I said, 1,400 people now. I think I lost count, and it's incredible. So let me talk about what is covered in Finance Academy. What do you get as a member? So as a member, you receive building blocks, all the building blocks we talked about. So let me share with you a few of them right now, and just to give you what's possible. So the Master Sweep account is the one I just touched on earlier. Use the power of a simple shortcut in your local bank. By the way, a lot of those things are set up. Most of them are set up in your local bank. You don't have to call anyone or travel anywhere or go to a live event or any of this stuff. Okay. You set it up in your local bank. You pay off any debt you have in 1/3 the time without making additional payments. That's the one I showed you earlier with Andrea. Increase your net worth by $100,000 or more in 10 years or less. Use the power of floats that banks use against us. They're using against us anyway. We might as well tweak it and make it work for us. And these things are fully automated. Once you set it up, it's all fully automated. And that's valued at $1,997. The next one is a financing system. This was, again, like I said, discovered 200 years ago by someone Forbes magazine called the founding father of international finance. I was so skeptical about this one, and it took me 2 years to prove it actually works. This was so weird to me. It's like, why would this work? It didn't make any sense whatsoever. And I worked on it for 2 years for it to actually click in there, and it's fascinating. This requires a local bank account. You generate double-digit returns without investing. $100,000. This is a $100,000 building block. What we mean by that is we have a lot of building blocks. We call them the $100,000 building block because they increase your net worth by $100,000 over time. Some of them don't. Some of them are $25,000 and $50,000 building blocks, but we have quite a few that are 100,000 or more building blocks. Again, this is fully automated. So these are two. The third one here is the insurance arbitrage. The insurance arbitrage, you get to use the power of arbitrage or spreads to generate tax-free income in 15 years. Now, why 15 years? Well, that's how the loophole is set up. But one of the things that's interesting about this is I tell people, if you knew that you're going to generate tax-free income in 15 years from now, the good thing that it does for most people is that they know that over the next 15 years, they can completely screw up. If you're starting a business or whatever, and you just fail miserably, at least you have that backup plan that's going to generate tax-free income for the rest of your life, starting 15 years from now. And that will increase your net worth well over $500,000. And this is set up by having banks finance you with an accruing loan. That means you don't have to pay it until way in the future, many years later. And no one's going to check your credit, and there's no personal guarantee. Why would a bank do that? Because it's that low risk for them. And this is one of those things I talk about in some of my trainings. I talk about, there's certain things you can plant the seed in your filing cabinet and just let it grow. This is one of them. It sits in your filing cabinet or your drawer, and every year you take it out, and you look at two numbers, and you have to make sure one is higher than the other. If it's not, we tell you exactly what to do, and you put it back in your drawer. And once a year, we have a reminder. We have you set up an automatic reminder every year to look at those two numbers. Again, this is fully automated. The next one is self-insurance. Now, this here is fascinating because 7 to 10% of your take-home income, 7 to 10% goes towards all kinds of insurance, across all insurance needs. So one of the things is that money is just leaving your pocket and never coming back. So it turns out that if we mimic how the insurance companies shift risk to other companies, there's a strategy that you can use, the same one, to make it work for you. You end up paying a lot less money in your insurance, but you end up having more insurance and better quality insurance. So now you have more peace of mind knowing that you have better insurance from bigger companies, but you're paying a lot less because you're using a strategy that they use that's fascinating. You keep more of your money that's going towards insurance companies right now, sorry, and you make it grow by mimicking what insurance companies are doing right now with it. And again, this is fully automated. Once you set it up, again, this works in your local bank, and there's nothing crazy where you're investing crazy money. None of that stuff. It's simply using the same strategies that are low risk that the insurance companies use. Again, we have so many more building blocks. Here are some of them, velocity of money, generational wealth. The generational wealth this is a $1 million building block. Again, this is over time. And we have a whole bunch of them, credit card money floats and some other ones there. So we have so many of those things. So if you were to add up everything, we have so many that have been added since then. This is well over $19,000. And then we have the online community of finance hackers. This is where you interact with people on the same journey. They're all finance hackers. We're all doing this together. And we all support each other while you receive support back. So you're helping other people and they're helping you back. We have people writing spreadsheets and contributing them to help other people. And this allows you to become a member of that community of finance hackers. So again, we have all the building blocks and the online community together. Now let me talk about the value here. If you were to implement one single building block and you set it on autopilot one time, and just let it sit in your filing cabinet, you will increase your net worth well into tens of thousands of dollars, if not $100,000 or more, just from one single building block. I just showed you the one with Andrea, and she's about to pay her mortgage $260,000 in 7.5, let's just say 8 years. That means if she was to refinance every 8 years, she's going to get back that money tax-free and do more with it. And she can pay it again in 8 years. That right there is going to increase her net worth significantly. So one single building block, and you're getting all of these. You're getting so many more. So the investment for today is not going to be $5,497. It's not going to be $3,500. It's not going to be $2,000 either. It's going to be a lot less than that. So right now on the website, it shows $1,297 for an annual membership. We're going to give you an incredible deal here. Let me talk about some of the bonuses here for taking action today. You get access to online community like we talked about. That's all part of the bonus. The second one is you get an interview with a travel hacker. This is one of my favorite things. I interviewed this gentleman that travels around the world, has an incredible lifestyle, all for very little to nothing. In fact, just the other day, I texted him about, I found a great deal for, I think, $50 or whatever it was. And he texted me back saying, I paid too much. I mean, this guy travels everywhere, first class, around the world for nothing. And so he shared in his interview his exact websites where he finds these crazy, incredible deals, and exactly how he does the whole thing and how he simplified his life and lives the lives he always wanted. And we have that interview as part of the bonuses. The next thing, you get access to all my 3 books, The Wealthy Code, The Banker's Code, and The Debt Millionaire. You get all of these books. This is actually one of my favorite courses here. I convinced this master coach, Willie Hooks, to license this training from him for all our members. And it's called Mastering the Inner Game of Money. It's about how to rewrite your money story, how to overcome limiting beliefs about money, and truly how to unlock your potential to tap into greater wealth and financial security. I did everything I could to get this to our members. It is a very, very powerful course. It's valued at $497. Now, let me read the money back guarantee here. At this point, some people might be thinking, this sounds crazy, but how do I know this really works? Here's what I'm going to say. If for any reason you aren't blown away, you can remove thrilled and satisfied and write blown away with our advanced training. Just let us know at the end of 30 days and we'll refund you 100% of your purchase price. So you have the whole 30 days to decide risk-free. Okay, that's how sure we are that this is going to be just so impactful. And immediately, we don't hold anything back. You get access to everything immediately. You have the whole 30 days. And I'll just tell you right now that many students are doing some amazing things in 30 days. So you have a lot of time to not just go through the training, but also just implement 1 or 2 building blocks and see what happens. So the first 28 people, we're going to give you access to all the bonuses we just talked about. But it's going to get a lot better here in a second. So we just introduced this mega bonus, and I'm going to talk about this here. And this is the one I'm trying to convince Scott to come to. We're doing this a number of times every year. So let me walk you through it. We just finished one recently, and it's a 3-day live event called Hacking the Financial Matrix. It is incredible. I'll share with you what you're going to see in this 3-day, but you get this completely for free for joining today, and you're going to get 2 tickets to this live event. Again, we're going to offer this throughout the year. So let me share with you what's so interesting about this. You're going to learn some of the most advanced Jedi financial strategies that only bankers know in this. We've had people walk out of there completely blown away with the information, because it is something that takes everything we just talked about to a whole new level. And any type of investing you're doing will take it to a whole new level by simply going through this training. So here's what you're going to find at this. You're going to learn how to see, beat, and escape the financial matrix. We all know and we feel like we live in this financial matrix, but no one can actually calculate it. We're going to actually calculate it. We're going to show you numbers, prove to you that you are in a financial matrix, but more importantly, how to use that whole matrix against them, the whole system. You walk away with little known Jedi strategies that are simple, low risk, and you can implement immediately the day after the training. Again, anyone that knows me knows I'm very skeptical. Everything's about numbers. I'm going to prove to you that you are in a financial matrix. I know you feel it already, but it's important that you prove it on numbers, with numbers, and then prove it mathematically how to turn it and work for you. It is incredible. Meet other professionals on the same journey, trying to escape from the financial matrix. Tap into greater wealth and financial security, all from this live event. And this is valued at $1,997. You're getting 2 free tickets today for joining. Again, you have the 2 optional tickets. Are valid for the next 12 months. And take your time. My recommendation is to come within 2 to 3 months after you join. Get an idea what's inside the membership and what's part of the community. And when you come, you can meet some of these people, but also you can relate to some of the building blocks that you've learned about and implemented. Now, I want to talk about the value here in a different sense. Whether we like it or not, the average American is losing well over $250,000 per year, or over their career, to financial institutions by not implementing this information. In fact, some people, you can measure how much they're losing. They're losing significantly more than that. This is for the average American over the lifetime. So you're paying for this indirectly. So what if we can take some of the money that you're paying right now, financial institutions and the government, and turn it and start making it work for you? Because whether you like it or not, this is how much you're going to be losing over your career. And again, that's for the average American. Many people on this call are losing significantly more than that. And you can measure this. So the question you have to ask yourself is, do you want to risk your whole financial future on figuring out the whole maze out there, or do you want the shortcuts to get from where you are to what we call financial happiness or your financial goals? That's really up to you to answer that question. But we are on a quest as finance hackers to find those shortcuts and share them with our members. So for the people interested in being part of this community and being a finance hacker, you have two possibilities. One is you can join today and get the bonuses for $797. That's your annual membership. And it's a limited offer. We're doing that today. And to sign up, here's the website, Fynanc, which is misspelled Fynanc live.com/Carson. So that's one option. If you cannot afford the $797 per year, you can have the second option, which is 3 installment payments of $297 to get your annual membership. You pick whichever works for you. Obviously, the $797 is a cheaper way to go if you can afford it. Now, the bonuses, all the bonuses we just talked about, the first 28 people who pay in full the $797 are the ones that get all the bonuses. Now, the mega bonus, the 2 optional tickets, everyone that becomes a member today, or this, throughout this next two days, actually, you'll get the 2 tickets as well to the live training, the Hacking the Financial Matrix. It's going to blow your mind. So all of that, everything we just talked about, all these building blocks are available right now, and they're online, and you can start implementing these as soon as possible. Again, for those who want to register, here is how you register. Finance is misspelled on purpose. It's Fynanc. That's finance without an E and without an I. It's a Y. Fynanc, and then live, live.com/Carson. I think you might. I'm not sure if you have to spell the C capital letter I think you don't have to, but
I also posted the link in the chat roll for people too, so they can jump on there as well.
Oh, excellent. So that's what I'm excited about. That's what I've been working on now for some time. This whole concept of being a finance hacker, which is very, very different, and the way you think is very different than an investor. Investors, again, I'm an investor, but the way investors think are so focused on the asset. You're so focused on whether it's real estate or notes or whatever. All of that is fine. Finance hackers focus on the finance part. So for the investors in the room that listen to this, if you combine the finance with the asset, you have an incredible combination. For people that are not investors, this is going to help you so much. And so I'm super excited about this new paradigm. And honestly, I thank God every day that lady walked up to me, many years ago and asked me that question that really just blew my mind away. I thought she was kidding, but it changed my life and the direction of my life. And here I am sharing this with everyone. So I'm super, super excited about that. So Scott, did I make it on time? So if you have any questions, let me see here if there's any questions.
There is. My apology. I was muted there. You're good. How can people implement this line of credit strategy if you don't have equity in your home?
So there are a number of ways you can do. We cover those in the training, but one of them is you can simply get a unsecured line of credit, or for those people that want to lower the interest, you can get a secured line of credit. So you can have there's a number of ways again, but one of them is you can just open, for example, a CD and get a line of credit against it. That's one way. Another way is you can have, if you have there's many things that you have collateral that you can get lines of credit. For example, most people don't realize this, but against permanent life insurance, you can get a line of credit against your cash value. There's many ways to have lines of credit. We just give you different options in the training, but for the simple one, just ask for a unsecured line of credit. And I know one of the trainers over here, Scott, is Merrill, and Merrill actually talks about credit. And one of the things he helps our students is also bring in lines of credit for that purpose. So there are many, many options.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing. There's different ways to do that, to set it all up. And, you guys, the thing about the hacking of the house, that's just one small thing in the whole variety of things that you guys provide. One simple tool of what you guys are doing.
Yeah, and I tell people, you know what, some building blocks might not apply to some people. Just skip it and move on to the next one. And this could be for people that cannot get lines of credit. That's okay. You can always come back to it, and make sure that you come back to it at some point. But just move on to the next one. Some of these building blocks just require literally a checking account, and that's it. And a process. You have to have the checking account and the process of using that checking account in certain ways to generate double-digit returns. So again, you don't have to have each building block implemented. I tell people skip it if it's going to take too much time, and come back to it later when you have certain things in place.
Exactly. That's a good point there. And Clark says most banks have shifted to using credit cards rather than line of credits or HELOCs. Now, I mean, you still get home equity lines of credit. It just varies a little bit on what state you're in and what the bank is doing. Like in Texas, you can only do a home equity line of credit up to 80% of the equity of your house. We're a little stricter here, but there's still other ways to get around that to make things happen. So
and keep in mind that the amount, the size of the line of credit is pretty small. It doesn't have to be 100,000, 200,000.
Right.
The guideline is this: take your monthly take home times 4 is what you really need. So if you take home 5,000, you multiply by 4, that's 20,000. That's the max. That's the most you need, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, anything above that is fine, but that's all you need. So many unsecured lines of credit you can use definitely with this strategy.
Right. Just so you guys know, last time we had Note Camp on, George's discussion, I got so many amazing phone calls and emails from people that signed up last time we did this with you. They absolutely loved it. I mean, I still get people today. They're like, oh my gosh, I learned. That's the whole thing about notes and finances. There's so many little tricks, if you know, tweaks for the most part for things. So yeah, there's the link there, financelive.com/Carson. I posted a link in the chat roll there for you. So it's a clickable link for you guys as well. Question. Kenny says, I attended one of George's live trainings 2 weekends ago. I was blown away. I'm signed up for hacking the financial matrix. I can't wait.
Yeah. You know what? I have to say something, Scott. I really want you to come to that training. And the reason is this. You've seen some of my work, but this is brand new. We just did it first time a few months ago, and it had rave reviews. But we want to serve all the students. And for you especially, it's really important that my reputation, that people are happy with the work, because otherwise they're going to come to you and they're going to complain and say, this George sucks or whatever. So no, I know we're laughing about it, but it's really important to me, because that's why I want you to come to it and just sit there and go, this is incredible. And you know what's interesting is that everything we talk about here, for the people doing notes, you will take your business to a whole new level. I am such a huge advocate of notes because there's so many things that are amazing about it in terms of yields and in terms of security and all that stuff. And combining it with this is incredible.
Mm-hmm. Couldn't agree more with you. Where's the live going to be at? In San Jose?
Yes, typically San Jose, Bay Area, and but we do some events in different areas. But typically, I'm trying to travel less and having people travel to San Jose.
There we go. Smart man. Make them come to you. That's what people think, guys. $797, well worth the price there, guys. That's awesome. And it's nice that you've got that 3 installment plan there, too, for those that need to break it up a little bit, which is awesome.
And you know what? The money back guarantee is awesome. I put it in there because I am a huge skeptic, and I keep saying that because give it a try. You have 30 days, and all I ask is just implement one single thing, and you see what happens. You will get addicted to this stuff. It is incredible. And And I can't, we have something like 30 or 40 building blocks coming down the pipeline, new ones that I'm going to be adding into the library. So you're going to start seeing more and more being added into that. So when you first log in right now, you will see tons and tons and tons of them. And then we keep adding more and more. So it's going to be incredible. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Good stuff there. And you're hosting this how often? Once a quarter?
The live events?
Yeah.
Right now for this year, because we had just started testing this, we have one in June and one in October. And I think I have to check if we have one in December or maybe January. But we're going to have it 4 times a year next year. Yeah. Okay. And we have 3 times this year so far.
Awesome. What other questions you have for Mr. Antone? We can wrap it up with him, let him go, take a quick little break before we bring Miss Sharon on there. Here, guys.
I'm not about Sharon so much.
All right, guys. Once again, there's the website Fynanc, Fynanc live.com/Carson, capital FYNANC live.com/Carson. Awesome. George, as always, thanks, bud, for joining us here. Thanks for sharing your time. I know you're busy. Love what you're doing. Can't wait to see you, hang with you in person for a little bit more, huh?
Thanks, Scott. It's always a pleasure. It's truly an honor to share this information. I'll just end it with this. I am the biggest nerd out there when it comes to finances. I love doing this stuff, and there's nothing more enjoyable for myself and for Scott sharing our work and changing lives. But just having participated, going back and forth, and for everyone else that's a member contributing to this work and making it even better. I have to say, Scott has had a huge impact on me in my life, and he's always pushing me to do things to enjoy life more. And I just want to say thanks for everything, Scott. You've been incredible.
Hey, man. Thanks here, man. I appreciate it. It's always nice to surround ourselves with good people to help us all out. So good stuff, man. Hey, you take care of the family, and I'll talk to you later, my friend.
Take care. Thanks again, man.
Thanks, George. All right, guys and gals, we're going to take a quick 7.5-minute break. Let you run, grab something, grab you a fresh piece of paper, take some notes on, because we have the one, the only, the author, the co-author, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the co-author of Think and Grow Rich, 3 Feet from Gold, co-author of Outwitting the Devil, and a whole variety of other books. The one, the only, Sharon Lechter, join us here in about 10 minutes. See you back here in a few minutes. Bye.